question that you had, sir, about where the name came from. We're going to speak with Sergeant Jacob Wilks. Sergeant? Now, Sergeant Wilks served in the 9th Cavalry. As you can tell by his uniform, he held a position of honor. Have a seat, please. Let's start. As you know now, 1792, they passed a law African Americans couldn't serve, but they found out during the Civil War that they needed men, so they started to open it up. Some men were pressed into service, some men were freedmen who decided to fight on their own, and we'll hear from Sergeant Wilks what his story is. In fact, let's start with that. Why did you decide to join the United States Army? The country had just gone through a bloody Civil War. African Americans were promised certain things. They weren't given those by the British or by the Americans necessarily. What was your reason for joining the Army at that point?
Well, for myself and many that I served with, there's a number of reasons why I wanted to join the Army. One of them was respect. I couldn't sit around and watch other men fight and die for the freedom that I wanted. So that's what I mean by respect. Another one was opportunity. I was afforded the opportunity to join the military and to be employed. And one of the reasons why I did that was it enabled me to take care of my family. It allowed me to send money home to help my family. And for a man to be able to send money home to assist his family does a lot for a person's self-esteem. So that's one of the reasons why I joined the military.
All right, so you have respect, self-esteem, opportunity to help yourself, to help your family. Let's talk about the money aspect a little bit, because we had heard from Cathay that although the white soldiers got $13 a month, the black soldiers got $10 a month, and they still had to pay for their uniforms. So the money couldn't have been that great. What was the situation like when it came to pay?
Well, in the beginning, after the Civil War, all soldiers was paid the same. For a private, it was $13 a month. For a sergeant, it was $17 a month. I wanted to go through my career and make it the most amount of money that I could.
17 a month, that's a lot back then, right?
Yes.
So you were able to send some home. But what bills did you have?
Well, that may not seem like a lot of money, but the people that were working then was not making that much money.
Mm-hmm.
And by them not making that much money, they had to pay for a room. These people that was not in the military, they had to pay for room, board, clothing, and I didn't have to pay for all that. That enabled me to save money and send it home to my family.
And you worked your way up to sergeant. Congratulations on that, which has got to be a tough thing to do, first of all. Were the troops at that time still segregated? Were you still under officers who were white, or were there black officers at that time? Because I know there's a hierarchy there.
Yes, in the beginning, but until 1877, we got our first black officer, Henry O. Flipper. He was the first African American to graduate from West Point. Henry O. Flipper, then once Henry O. Flipper finished his military service with the Buffalo Soldiers, he then moved into the Department of Interior and served courageously.
Now, and actually, a lot of the soldiers served courageously, not just during the Civil War, but let's talk about what you did after the Civil War, because that's really where the name Buffalo Soldiers come from out west, right?
Right. The Buffalo Soldier, they started in the east, and then after and they moved to the west. There was not much population there, and they were responsible for marking land, landscape, marking water holes, protecting the settlers, and
So as these people came out west, stagecoaches and stuff,
Right.
and we've all heard the stories of that.
right.
You were not only marking the territory, but you were providing the law for the
Right.
territory out that way?
Out that way, there was no law and order. The Buffalo Soldiers established law and order where there wasn't any. And once the settlers started moving out west, they protected the settlers from Indian attack, where the Buffalo Soldier earned 16 Medal of Honor for heroics.
And that's the highest award Congress offers, is the Congressional Medal of Honor. There are a number of Buffalo Soldiers that have received that. So let's touch on that Indian thing that you just mentioned a little bit, because that's where the name, historians tell us, the Buffalo Soldier name came from, right?
Yes, the Buffalo Soldier, during the Indian attack, the Buffalo Soldier had fierce enemies fighting the Indians, from fighting Geronimo, Sitting Bull, Crazy Horse, and a number of other well-known Indian fighters. And we were such fierce fighters that the Indians gave us the name Buffalo Soldier, because we were fierce fighters. And another thing is because we had curly hair. Except for, as you noticed, I don't have any hair.
I don't think there were any bald buffaloes back then either. So the name Buffalo Soldiers gets established as you guys fight so valiantly in the Indian Wars and helping to settle the West. Following those wars, you also took part in protecting the national parks as they were established, right? And
Right.
you continued right up as Buffalo Soldier troops through World War I and World War II, correct?
Correct. We fought in the Spanish-American War and won 6 Medal of Honor for bravery.
I want you to tell them about San Juan Hill.
Well, let me tell you about San Juan Hill. The Buffalo Soldier fought the Battle of San Juan Hill, and as you noticed that, what's his name?
Teddy Roosevelt?
Teddy Roosevelt took credit for the Battle of San Juan Hill. He took it. Well, people, let me tell you, that is not correct. The Buffalo Soldier took San Juan Hill. Teddy Roosevelt rode up with the media after San Juan Hill, and he took credit for it. And the Buffalo Soldier did not get credit for taking San Juan Hill.
But they did receive a number of Congressional Medal of Honors for that.
Yes, they did. They received 6.
And a Buffalo Soldier contingent stayed in World War I, World War II, the Spanish-American War, as the sergeant has said. And it wasn't until 1951 when President Truman said, we're not going to segregate the services anymore. We're going to integrate them. Until that time, there were still black troops, white
It was
troops.
still black troop and white troop. And then at the end of 1951, that's when all of the armed forces was integrated.
And the history of the Buffalo Soldiers doesn't end there, of course, right?
No, it does not.
through
It
today.
continues. It continues through today. The only thing about it, the Buffalo Soldiers, the troops today, the cavalry troops are definitely more robust. And what I mean by that is they are equipped to fight with.
What did you have back in your day?
I rode a horse.
Okay. And you had a rifle, maybe that's it?
I rode a horse and a rifle.
And what are they doing today?
And I'm gonna tell you, today's soldiers, cavalry soldiers, use an M1 tank. Now, I don't know if any of you watched the war in Afghanistan and Iraq, but if you notice the M1 tank, it has a lot of firepower, which it has 120 smoothbore main gun, 2 7.62 machine gun, and 1 50 caliber machine gun. And what do that mean? We was taking out the enemy, and they couldn't even see us yet, because from 200 to 4,700 meters away, we are deadly accurate.
What's a meter?
Say again?
What's a meter?
What's
Meter, about,
39 inches.
yeah, something like that, a little over 3 feet.
So how many miles?
Yeah.
Well, about 4 to 5 miles, deadly accurate. They couldn't even see us yet, but we was able to take them out.
Not like being on a horse with a rifle.
No.
Not at all. Sergeant, thank you so much for your service.
And by the way,
Go ahead.
by the way, I was